because name theology appears to have risen out of exile. Okay, for instance, Deuteronomy chapter 5. Remember, Deuteronomy is actually written or redacted after the exile, or during the exile. Do you need something?
Yeah.
Deuteronomy is either written during or after, it's either written or at least redacted after or during or after the exile. And so what we should see here should be different from some of the other earlier texts. Even though Deuteronomy comes before Samuel and Kings in the Bible, in order of books, it was written after. Okay? And that's another class, and if you want to come see me in office hours, I can take you through the process. But just take my word for it for now. I'll show you some evidence of the same. For instance, in Deuteronomy 12:5, you shall see the place that the Lord your God will choose out of all your tribes and his habitation to put his name there. Not for God to dwell there, but for his name to be put. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean? What does it mean for God to put his name somewhere? All right, look at 2 Kings 21:7. The Lord said to David and to his son Solomon, in this house, referring to the temple in Jerusalem, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will put my name there forever. Not I will dwell there forever, but I'll put my name there forever. So what does that mean? Let me ask you. Yeah?
That he's marking it as his territory in a sense.
Okay, so it's his territory. What else? Yeah?
But it can also be destroyed. It's not like God's there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, this is a very good point. One of the things is not only is he marking it, he could have marked it by living there, or he could have marked it by just having his name there, right? But if it gets destroyed, what does that mean? God wasn't destroyed, right? If God lives in the temple, right, like the Ark of the Covenant, and the thing gets destroyed, you say, uh-oh, God's house just burned down. But if you're working from after the fact, if you're trying to rationalize what happened, then if you can say, no, that's not where God lived. It's not a house for God, even though 2 Samuel 7 had that debate, right? You're not going to build me a house. We'll look at that in a second. But it's not where he lives, it's where his name resides. It's where he's worshipped. So when you burn down a church, when one of these fires comes, where I live in Mountain Canyon, right, Liberty Canyon, Mountain Canyon, so one of those fires comes and burns down a church, the church doesn't go, they burned down God's house. He must be dead. No, that's just where he was worshipped. Okay? And name theology allows for that. Okay? Let's look at another one. Right? 1 Kings 9. The Lord said to Solomon, I consecrate, remember the great prayer? After he built the temple, Solomon does this dedicatory prayer, the ribbon cutting ceremony. I consecrate this house which you have built here, and I set my name there forever. Not, and I will dwell here forever, but I set my name there forever. And that's an important thing to distinguish, right? My eyes and my heart shall ever be there, but not my presence. I'll hear when you talk to there, and I'll listen. Remember, in the ancient world, right? Let's do it this way. In today's world, when we talk about I really know something, right? When you know something, what do we point to? Our head, right? We know with our head. But when we say, oh, come on, have a heart, when we talk about compassion, we talk about what? I have a feeling, and it's perfect. Yeah, I got it. Let me start that again. In the modern world, when we know something, we point to our head. We know the brain's up there. So I know something. But when we're talking about compassion, we say, oh, come on, have a heart. Okay. So compassion resides in the heart, linguistically, and knowledge resides in the ancient world. It was a little different. The heart was the seat of knowledge. Right? So my heart is with you. It means I'm listening to you. I'm knowing. I'm paying attention to you. And your emotions resided in your guts. Spunkla. It's this really fun word in Greek. Right? It's the idea is, I have a gut feeling. Okay? So when it talks about my heart and my eyes will be there, I will see you, and I will know you. I will hear you. I will listen to you. Okay. It's the same idea with worship the Lord your God with all your, right? There's this idea of your heart and your mind. It's all you do it with everything, right? To Solomon's son I will give one tribe, so that there will be a lamp for my servant David, right? Forever before me in Jerusalem, the city where I have chosen to set my name. Again, look at 2 Kings 21. King Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, actually wasn't as good as Hezekiah, right? So he built altars for other gods in the house of the Lord, of which the Lord said, I will set my name in Jerusalem. So are you seeing how this differs from, let's say, something else, right? What happened to my slide? There it is. All right. Again, Deuteronomy. What did he say? You must destroy all the sites of all the nations you dispossess. Do not worship the Lord your God in this manner, with all those poles and things, right? But look only to the site that the Lord your God will choose amidst all the tribes as his habitation to set his name there. Now this is exilic. Right? I mentioned that Deuteronomy was written or redacted after the exile or during the exile. Okay? It doesn't just match Hezekiah's reforms a lot. I mean, it's another class. It's another class. And for those of you saying, no, Moses wrote the Pentateuch. Moses wrote Deuteronomy. That's a whole other lecture. We can do that some other time. But I would ask you to read the end of Deuteronomy where it tells about Moses dying. I'm guessing that Moses didn't write his own death. Moses did not write the Pentateuch, JEDP, documentary hypothesis. Like I said, it's an intro to Hebrew Bible class. But I teach it, but I can't do it here today. Why do I say it's exilic? Because in 2 Samuel 7, we have that original promise, right? Go and tell my servant David, the Lord says, are you the one to build me a house to live in? Right? The reason I would argue that this is pre-exilic is because it's problematic. Why is it problematic? Because it talks about God actually living in a house. Right? Which means when that house is later destroyed, we have a problem, right? I have not lived in a house since the day I brought up the people from Israel from Egypt. But I have been moving about in a tent at a tabernacle. And wherever I have moved about, it's not talking about his name, it's talking about God physically being in the presence with what? What's the thing moving about where God's presence resides? The Ark of the Covenant, right? So there's obviously this theology, this idea that God did reside somewhere with the Ark. And once I built the temple, he resided at the temple, right? I have moved about. Why have you not built me a house out of cedar? I've never asked that question. So we know that in some of the earlier texts, where God talks about actually residing in a house or in a thing, but that's probably earlier, right? Because after that place gets destroyed, now we have a problem. So you get texts like 2 Kings and you get texts like Deuteronomy that says, no, that's where I was going to put my name. And that way you have a problem. God lives up there and his name is worshipped there. That's called name theology. Any questions about that? Yes?